Hello, I'm Rick with CI Corporation, Convert Information. To talk today about converting from Q&A by Symantec into Microsoft Access, the world's most popular database program. Q&A was great in its time, 1985 to 1993, but now people seem to want to use more modern technology. So we've developed a service at convertqa.com. Here's our website about converting from Symantec Q&A. And to determine the fees, you can go to File, Search, and find the number of records. So I'll demonstrate that on a Q&A screen now. From the main menu, File, then down to Search, choose your file, and then press F10. Now if you press Control End, like end of the database, you can see down here the total number of forms here is 862. And then we'll give a quote based on that. Also on how many pages there are. This form has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages to it, and it also has a lot of calculations. You can see under Design File, and then down to Program a File, choosing the file, and take a look at the programs. You'll see in this case there were many formulas. Almost every field had a formula. There were over 200 in this particular example. And for example, for the work order up at the top, you can see the formula when you expand the field, or you can press F6 to see the formula for that field. So this means field 620, and what you do is you assign each field a number. And this field 620, if the form is updated, then 620, this field, is going to be equal to 594, 595, and 598. So where are those fields? Well, those fields happen to be on page 5. So I'm paging down to go to page 5, and then I have to find them in here. I believe it's over here. This, Q&A that could only fit so many fields on the screen, so that's another reason that this customer wanted to convert. So here's 595 and 495, 594 next to it. This is the date, and then this is going to be 595. There's going to be a lookup value, looking up in the lookup table for the database, and the field over here, and then 598 is going to be this field over here, which is also a lookup value in the lookup table. So there's a lot of complexity to this one. Now let's take a look at the lookup table. Now, to find the lookup table, you go to File, and then to Design, and then under Programming, you find Edit Lookup Table. So it's going to look down the key field, the key column, and then you specify which column you would like. So if you're looking up a value such as 2LS, one column over here would be SF20, and this would be CS20 on this lookup table. So we can convert all the lookup tables as well for you. So let's take an example for our record, and I'll put in ID number 300. And then F10, Then it zooms ahead to find this record. The work order is 354 DD. And I look down here, there's more information about this product. Okay. And we can also take a look at the formulas for those fields, but I have to open up a different file, a copy of the file, to show them simultaneously. So this number here, this field 640, as I said, was equal to the concatenation of fields 620, 594, 595, and 598. Now as I look through here at other formulas, I'm pressing the Tab key to move ahead to the next formula, or the Enter key. Here's another if statement here. Now it's one thing to convert the actual data in the database to Access, but you also would want to get the programming that produces the numbers. Otherwise you convert them into Access and then the numbers would never change from there. So this was an interesting project that had that requirement. There's ifs, there's else's, there's begin, there's end, a lot of programming constructs. So we do convert those as well. Okay, so what you do is send us a file. You can email the zip file or use our data upload page. And our pricing is based on the number of records, but also the need for screen design. And we try to make it look like it does in Q&A, so you and your staff will be familiar with where the data is found. And we can make quite modern features. On the left hand side in blue is the Q&A, on the right in gray is how it looks in Microsoft Access. And we can make a relational database out of it to make it the database more efficient and give you more capabilities. Here is an example of a drop-down list that we can make, which aids in data entry and helps make the database more consistent by not having inconsistent values. So we would give you a quote for this, based on that. We also can customize reports. By making the database truly relational, we overcome many limitations that Q&A had of being a flat file database, such as we see a lot of use of in Q&A, a lot of repeat. Each one of these rows here is actually a different field, and it doesn't need to be like that. These can be rows in another table that's connected to the main database. And we also can do the programming to convert the if statements. Q&A's format always has a field number, and then you make the formulas based on the field number. Now in Access we can make a field which has a more explanatory name than just 4444, or even just called field 4. It could be called name, address, phone number, zip code, whatever. And then we convert it to Visual Basic format, VBA, Visual Basic for Applications, so that it'll execute based on a command button. And we have many satisfied clients from New Jersey to Australia. We can convert from all these other programs as well: ACT and Excel, Goldmine, Salesforce, NetSuite, Sharkware, FoxPro. And you can find us at convertinformation.com, or ConvertInfo for short. In this case, the most relevant website would be ConvertQA. So, let me start giving a demonstration of how this process begins. So, to get all these formulas, we could one by one type out all these formulas, but you see there's quite a lot of them. Now I'm looking down here. Do you see where it says expand field? When I hit enter, it goes to the next field, next field, next field. Each of these, I see a lot of lookup formulas. And it doesn't, Q&A is too early to be able to really copy and paste, so that was before that technology, unless you have Q&A for Windows. But there is an easy utility that's available from Q&A. It's called Q Extract. And this will enable you to extract the programming into a file, and then we'll take that file, and then we will convert from there. So I'm choosing the data file, and then the directory where I want to export it, and then press F10. And it extracts into an ASCII file. Then what we do is we take the ASCII file and I put it into my program, which makes a data file of the DTFs. The file extensions for Q&A is DTF, for data file. So here I would paste the list of formulas in the leftmost box. Here, for instance, here's that 620. If update, then 620 equals field number 594 connected to 595 connected to 598. And I'll scroll down so you can see there are quite a lot of formulas. Over 200 formulas in here to convert. See a lot of lookups. This, for instance, is looking up into the costing table, another one of the tables that we converted. Okay, so you see that's quite a lot of work. Now notice that the numbers are, sometimes there's 3 digits to it, 406. Sometimes it's 4 digits, 510. Up at the top, there's a field just 19, just 2 digits, 5 1 digits. So the next process, we run a procedure which makes them consistently 4 digits. So 19 becomes 0019, 5 becomes 0005, and those fields that are already 4 digits, 9500, stay the same, 9500. Okay, then we proceed to convert the database into Microsoft Access. Now this is an older version of Microsoft Access, but I use that on this machine because of the limitations of running Q&A. Q&A will not run past Windows 6. And now we're up to, what, Windows 11 at this time? So I have to use a previous version of Access to be able to work on the database from the 2 different programs. But no worries, the Q&A, the Access database automatically updates to the most recent version. So, use this to put the fields where they approximately are in Access. Okay, so where's the top? I have the ID near the top here, and I have the number, this number here, UN number, proprietary number, work order number here, and instead of pages in Q&A, you can go page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, like that. But in Access, you can have these tabs, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, 5, and 6. We can also color code them. So on page 5, I color coded them, and based on the type of formula that was in the field. If it was an if statement, a lookup statement, if it was just make one cell equal to another cell, or formula, that's in purple. So now in Q&A, if you wanted a field from page 1, such as the work order, up here at the top, to appear on another page, such as page 5, you actually had to make another field. There's a work order again, 354DD. You actually had to make another formula that would be equal to the other ones, the original formula. However, in Access, that's not a problem. All you do is simply repeat the field. So I can put the field, this is the same field again, on tab 5, that's on 1. Also at the top I have top 2 rows, which are information that would be handy to see regardless of which page you are on. Page 1, page 2, you want to see the ID, you want to see the work order number, you want to see all the basic identifying information, the product name, you would want to see that. Okay, now these are given field names that are more explanatory. So instead of just field 620, it's 620 work order, WO. And the V is in front of the name to make it a value rather than a formula. It also could be a formula. Now it's possible to make formulas in Microsoft Access, and those are done through the queries. Now here we see there were so many fields that had to be divided into 2 tables. One show field pages 1 through 4 and page 6, and then 5 it had a lot of fields, so all the fields for page 5 are on one table, and they're connected here by the join properties, including all the records from one that match the other. We also assign a numerical ID to help link the tables together. Then down at the bottom you can make formulas in the fields to do calculations, and could concatenate those 3 fields together for the work order. However, for this particular application, it was easier to make a calculation button. So what will happen is I'll go back to the working view, and I'll go to look up record 300. And then I press the calc button. So even if this is blank, I press calc, and there it is. Okay. And there it calculates. Now, we want to see how do we get all these formulas over into Microsoft Access. Okay, then the next step that we do, we have a process which will convert the field names to a field name that has more meanings. For instance, field 15, or for example, field 0005 will be 0005 UN, and field 620 will be converted to 620 WO to stand for work order. Then it'll use, instead of the numbers in the formula, like 620 becomes 620 WO. Field 594 becomes field 594 with a code to help locate the field on the form. Okay, now these statements, these potentially could be put into a query. I was demonstrating the queries, and I could put them like right here. I'll make a place for it and then paste to be a field that can be then placed on the form. That's an option. And in this case, as I said, there were so many formulas that it would be easier to put them into a calculation button. And the calculation button looks like this. If I go to the properties and then take a look at the event procedure, here's the program that will do all of these 200 formulas all in one swoop. And it gets through all these in about a second. It only takes 1 second to do all these calculations with our modern fast computers. And then it gives a message box that it's done. Yes. But how to make all that code? Well, what we do is to convert it into this box here, Formula Visual Basic. I run a program to convert the formula into Visual Basic. And here it's going. It's running through very quickly. It's evaluating the statements, looking for if statements, if, and, then, commas, and substituting them and moving them around so that it creates a Visual Basic program. Here as a comment, for example, field 211 is preceded by an apostrophe, which means a comment in Access. So it takes the original Q&A, then it modifies that to make the field names more intelligible. And finally, it creates the if construct. So in Access there'll be an if line, then what you want it to do in that case. It also positions it on the form. So it puts in this word forms, then the name of the form, then the name of the field equals to what other field times another field in this case. So this was multiplying field 211 times field 10. Okay, then I can take this, I can copy this, and then I go over to Access, press Alt F11 brings up the Visual Basic, and then now I'm going to take out what was there before, and I made a little message to myself, begin paste and end paste. And I'm going to paste the code right there. There we go. And then save. And this is the code, the programming instructions that will execute upon hitting the calc button. That's why this procedure is called the private subroutine bcalc, button calc click. Let's take a look where button calc click is. I go to the design mode, and here it is, this red button here. The properties is called bcalc, button calc. And another one of its properties is the event procedure. What code will execute? All these instructions. So let's go back to the design view, and we'll pick a record there. Press the calc button, and it's done. It did all those at one time. Let's try a little test. We have bcalc. I'll put the letter E here, put the letter P there, and then press calc. Very good. So that is how we can convert a Q&A database file, data file, into Microsoft Access, including all the many calculations and formulas that you made over the years. For information, go to convert@cicorp.com is our email address. You can find it at convertqa.com. Thank you very much. Also, qaconvert.com. QAconvert.com. So convert from Q&A, think of QAconvert.com. Thank you.